Well, here we are on my YouTube channel, the morning after the night before, and the morning after the night before, in another disappointing final. This time it's the VP4 2022 World 10 Ball Championships that have gone down the pan. Previously we had a 9 Ball World Championship end up in a fiasco, and of course the similarities are that Stub was involved again. First time around, he messed Cobra around, hanging off, getting a match confirmed. We had this leading up to the 10 ball final as well from Stub. Couldn't get the match arranged, wouldn't settle on a date. It should have been done 3 or 4 days before. It was done on the second last day eventually. The match starts off and we have Stub disconnecting, reconnecting. Then it settles down. He gets himself a good start. He has a 7-2 lead against Albinario. Albinario put his own contributions to that deficit with the early mistakes he was making. And then it seemed that things were settling down. Match was a race to 21. It gets to Albinario having a slight lead. He battled his way back in it. He's leading by 11 racks to 10, and then that's it. Stub gets disconnected, and for some stupid reason, he's supposedly running 2 PCs. One of them's neither working right, the other's neither working right. We don't know what the full story is, because you don't get plain and simple English from Stub. You don't get a straight question answered by Stub. It sounds like he has got various viruses on either one or both of his PCs. He was advised to take appropriate action to try and deal with that sort of stuff, but again, not getting a common sense proper answer from him. We'll never know. And to cut a long story short, we had a long pause where he was trying to get into the lobby. His excuse was at the end of it that he was getting told that he was already logged into VP4. Now, if you're daft enough to have 2 PCs running and trying to log in, I don't know whether that could be a major conflict there straight away. The server's obviously still recognising that he's online one way or another. Steve will answer that better than I would. But anyway, he spent like 10 minutes trying to get back in to the room, and he couldn't do that, or he couldn't get properly online. And of course the inevitable happened. The match timed out. Albinario wins the match by forfeit. The tournament, of course, on the tournament system is then complete, and there's nothing else can be done once that tournament is complete. We then had a good hour or so in the lobby last night with Stub coming in with his so-called broken caps lock button on his keyboard, going on about the fact that he had this issue, insisting that the match should be finished. Well, in the cold light of day, it's all over again for Stub. Now, when you think about it, it's quite clear that he's not that daft and stupid that he would battle his way back in a semi-final match against Spectre Dawn, do all the hard work to actually come back in that match from a big deficit in it as well, eventually win it in a final rack decider, and then let it all go to this. Now, if you look back on it though, as I mentioned in the match last night, Stub did have a similar issue earlier on in the tournament, and he's had it now and again. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that if his PC's crashing or shutting down and restarting. I think he's got a similar problem I had, but he's not probably doing the right things to try and resolve the issue. I don't know whether he can be helped, whether he's willing to be helped or not. But anyway, that's immaterial. The tournament went fine for Stub as far as his remaining matches were concerned. He never had any other issues like that, not in any of them that I've seen. And then that all comes to a head in the match tonight. So he ruined it for himself. Albinario, of course, was keen to get the match arranged and done. It did get arranged, but Stub didn't have enough sense to make sure everything was right. He came into the lobby half an hour before the match was due to start, said he had a problem with his PC, which, in all honesty, is far too late in the scenario to be then saying there's an issue, and then it all comes to a head when he does have an issue during a match. So he's got nobody to blame but himself. He can't blame Albinario. He can't blame VP4. His system isn't working correctly, and it's up to him to do the necessary to put it right. If we look at the playlists, I've got a number of playlists for various championships that we've done. We have the one that we have here for this tournament, and as you can see, we've got a fair number of matches going from chronological order from top to bottom. The earliest match that I did down to what ended up being a non-final between Stub and Albinario. And he says that he's not going to play in any more of these. Well, that might not be a bad thing, but it probably won't happen. It's up to him to put things right for his sake. But the fact is, Stub goes through another championship and he hasn't won one. And this was one of his best opportunities to be able to do that. We'll never know who would have won in the end. In a two-horse race, it could have been anybody. But the advice to Stub is put your PC right, do everything you can to put it right, and don't ever put yourself in a position like this again where you've wasted Albie's time and wasted all the viewers that we did have making an effort to join the stream. And he's got nothing to show for it. Albinario wins by default. Most people would say probably would have won it anyway, but you know that's never true in a two-horse race. We know how things went badly wrong for Spectre Dawn in that semi-final match with Stub. It was going to be building up to a tight finish, but sadly it never was. So the next one up is the Cowboy World Championships. They're going to start in what, well, it'll be less than 10 days now, I would think. We've got about 11 seats left in that, so there's still plenty of time to get a full house for it. Stub, I think, was in the last one. I don't know whether he'll be interested in this. But anyway, let's hope things go better in the future. And thanks again for everybody that joined the streams. Thanks to all the players that contributed to a good tournament, and thanks to them that helped me with my streams as far as making sure that they put them at a time that did help me, particularly on my days off and things like that. I know that that was never always going to be the case, that everybody was going to do that. Time zone differences don't allow that, and it has to be that, you know, when it suits both players to get the match done. But I did my best to get as many as I could. But again, thanks to all the players for doing that. Thanks to Steve for joining many of the streams and his contributions. And, well, there's always a next time, isn't there, Stub? But do yourself a favour, mate. Get your PC sorted out. It's relatively easy to do if you get the right advice, and more importantly, take the right advice and actually listen and give people straight answers. Then you won't put yourself in this embarrassing position again.